The message from the private investigator was short and direct. Be at my office by 7 p.m. sharp. Bring nothing but yourself. It's important. I must have stared at those words for 10 straight minutes, phone trembling in my grip, the kind of tremor that comes when you feel the ground shifting under you, but haven't yet watched it give way. In the kitchen, Claire hummed softly as she poured 2 glasses of wine, sliding one toward me with a familiar, easy smile. Once, that smile could undo me in an instant. Lately, though, it felt rehearsed, like she wore one version for me and saved another for someone else. That suspicion was the reason I'd hired the investigator at all. Not because of one glaring red flag, but the steady drip of small changes. Claire started staying late at work. The constant texts and memes that kept our inside jokes alive slowed to nothing. Hours would pass in silence. When I asked, she'd sigh. James, I'm buried. Please don't make this a thing. Then came the perfume. Something new, stronger, far bolder than anything I'd ever bought her. She claimed a co-worker had gifted it. And then the lies, the kind so careless they were easy to spot. She'd say she was at yoga, but her mat sat untouched in the closet. She'd say she was with her sister, but her sister's Instagram showed her 2 states away. My gut whispered the truth my heart couldn't bear. She wasn't mine anymore. That's when I called him Walter Green. His voice was gravelly, blunt, the voice of a man who'd watched too many marriages collapse to waste time on niceties. I'll find out. But when I do, you'd better be ready for the truth. The meeting. Now here I was, standing outside a plain office building, Walter's text burning in my pocket. My chest was tight, my palms damp. I pushed through the heavy door and climbed the narrow staircase. At the top, I froze. It wasn't just Walter waiting. 6 other men sat around a long wooden table, each one looking like me, nervous, hollow-eyed, trying to mask the fear eating at them. The room smelled faintly of stale coffee and dread. Walter stood at the head of the table, a folder in his hand. His gaze swept over us. Gentlemen, he rasped, I'm sorry you're here, but you need to see this. He began laying out photographs, one by one, like playing cards in a grim poker game. Each shot told the same story. Wives in cars, in restaurants, in cheap hotels, always with men who weren't their husbands. With every photo, another man stiffened, a jaw clenched. A muttered curse broke the silence. Then he slid one across to me. Claire, her hair pinned up the way she used to wear it when we first met, laughing, her hand resting on another man's thigh in a dimly lit booth. The man's face was turned, unclear, until Walter placed the next photo down. My stomach dropped. It was Mark, my neighbor, the man who'd borrowed my tools, who'd stood at my grill on the 4th of July, who'd tossed a baseball with my son in the yard. The room tilted. My breath came shallow and ragged. Walter's voice cut through the ringing in my ears. This is bigger than you think. These women, your wives, they're not just cheating. They're connected. Same places, same nights, sometimes even the same men. The men around me exchanged stunned, broken looks. One slammed his fist against the table. Another buried his head in his hands. I stared at Claire's smile in the photo, a smile I believed belonged to me, and I realized it had been leased out like cheap property. The aftermath. Driving home was like moving through fog. My mind looped the photos again and again, her laughter frozen on glossy paper, her hand on his thigh. When I pulled into the driveway, the house glowed warm and inviting. Through the window, Claire moved around the living room, humming, straightening things, looking every bit the picture of normalcy. I sat in the car for 20 minutes, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. Part of me wanted to storm in, slam the photos down, and scream until my voice broke. Another part wanted to drive until I disappeared. Instead, I walked inside. You're late, she said with that warm smile, holding out a plate. I saved you some dinner. I studied her face, searching for guilt, for cracks. But she wore the mask too well. Thanks, I muttered, setting my bag down. We ate in silence. Every bite lodged in my throat like betrayal itself. The confrontation. Later, while she brushed her teeth, I sat on the edge of the bed. Walter's photo spread across my lap. My hands shook as I shuffled through them. When she came out, towel wrapped around her hair, she stopped cold. Her eyes darted to photos. The color drained from her face. James, I can explain. The oldest cliche in the book. And still it cut like a knife. Explain what? My voice was low, trembling. How you spend your nights laughing with a man who lives 20 feet away. How you look at him the way you used to look at me. Her lips parted, then closed. She looked cornered, ready to lash out or run. It's not what you think, she whispered. I let out a hollow laugh. Then what is it, Claire? Because these pictures don't lie. That smile doesn't lie. Tears welled in her eyes. I didn't mean for it to happen. Mark, he listened. He made me feel seen again. I never wanted to hurt you. I shook my head, biting back the scream clawing up my throat. You didn't want to hurt me? You've been tearing me apart piece by piece. Every lie. Every time you came home smelling like him. You didn't just hurt me. Claire, you destroyed us. She reached for me. I recoiled. Don't, I hissed. Don't you dare touch me. The decision. I didn't sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to her muffled sobs. Each sound raked across my chest like claws. By morning, my decision was carved in stone. Over coffee, I said it flatly. I want a divorce. Her spoon clattered against the counter. James, please. No, my voice was steady. You made your choice. Now I'm making mine. For once, she didn't argue. Just silence. Empty. Epilogue. 2 months later, I was back in Walter's office. Same table, different night. Some of the same men sat there, too. We didn't speak much, just exchanged brief nods, the kind soldiers give each other after surviving the same war. Walter dropped another stack of photos on the table. New clients, new husbands about to walk the same road we had. I left before he could flip them over. I didn't need to see more hearts breaking in black and white. Stepping out into the night, I realized betrayal doesn't just wound. It reshapes you. It cuts away the person you thought you were and leaves behind someone sharper, harder. I wasn't the man who had first walked into that office weeks earlier. That man still believed in trust. That man still thought love was unbreakable. I was someone else now, someone carved by loss, carrying scars that would never fade. But one truth was certain. Claire would never own another piece of me again.